23,000 Anzac casualties, over 6,500 dead in 8 horrific weeks of suffering. Charles Bean quotes John Lieutenant Roars saying, "The wounded and the killed men had to be thrown to one side. I refused to let any sound man help the wounded men. The men had to dig." John Roars goes on to describe the nature of the battle and how the Anzacs dealt with the hardship. "I took it on myself to insist on the men staying, saying that any men who stopped digging would be shot. We dug on and finished amid a tornado of bursting shells. I was buried twice and thrown down several times, buried with the dead and dying. The ground was covered with bodies in all stages of decay and mutilation, and I, after struggling free from the earth, picked up a body by me to try and lift him out with me, only to find him a decayed corpse. I pulled a head off and was covered with blood. The horror was indescribable." Now, a century on from this horror, we reflect on the courage demonstrated by the Anzac soldiers. Among them, Queensland's first Victorian Cross hero, John Leake. Unlike most Victorian Cross recipients, whose earlier life was scrutinised by historians, much of John Leake's life is elusive. John enlisted at Rockhampton Enlistments on January 1915. On the 23rd of July 1916, while John's 9th Battalion, the Royal Queensland Regiment, 3rd Brigade, was pushing forward under heavy resistance from the Germans, from an enemy bombing stronghold reinforced by 2 guns. The German stockpile of grenades kept the Anzacs from advancing through the grenades range. It was here that John leapt out of the trench, ignoring the enemy gunfire. He charged the position solo. He then flung 3 hand bombs into the post. He then jumped into the enemy post and bayoneted the remaining German soldiers. When the Australians came to France, the French people expected a great deal of you. We knew that you would fight a real fight, but we did not know that from the very beginning you would astonish the whole continent. This shows how the Anzac spirit was developed in the Pozieres and battles throughout World War I, and how it affected other countries such as the French perspective on the Australians' bravery, courage and mateship. This information taken from the Australian War Memorial can be considered significant because it shows how important the Anzac spirit means to us Australians and the importance of keeping a value for our history. The recapture of Pozieres in 1916 was a significant achievement for the Anzacs, which came at a great cost of losing 6,500 men in 8 horrific weeks, but leaving an incredible Anzac spirit legacy through that the heroic stories told 100 years after the unforgettable battle.
Waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tugger bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Down came the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Up came the troopers, 1, 2, 3. Who's the jolly jumbuck?